Hickok 45 here. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. I think we got a jewel for you this week. It's a video we filmed 7 or 8 years ago on a historical firearm. Yes, a very interesting historical firearm that was very likely used in the Civil War. I think you'll like this one, whether you've seen it or not, right? So I want to thank the people that help us out here. Davidson's Gallery of Guns. Who else? Yeah, SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. And of course, Alabama Holster, Talon Grips, and Ballistol. So, let's take a look at this video and I'll see you back here in a few minutes. I caught you again eyeballing a beautiful firearm. Well, I can't complain because I've been eyeballing it myself. There's nothing like a vintage firearm, whatever it is, whether it's a muzzleloader or a cartridge gun or you name it. And this is one. 1861 Springfield, used extensively by the North in the American Civil War. Now I've traded into this one recently. I had the 1863 you've seen, I hope. If not, we'll link to all those videos maybe. And I've had since December and been busy and been meaning to get it out and shoot it or do a video with it and have not done it. And it just occurred to me, so you know what, maybe like in one of the muzzleloader videos we did, maybe it was the Muscatoon, I don't recall now, we at the end of the video, y'all had been requesting it, we showed you how to clean it, or at least how I clean it, pretty much, you know, and probably should do a separate video on that. But I've not fired it, I've made sure it's oiled up and everything, and it seems really, really fine mechanically. It's made in 1862. And I thought, you know what, maybe we just start the video doing that, okay? And I'll show you what I do. And it's not only what I would do with this firearm, but with any firearm, if I hadn't fired that one in a while, basically do the same thing to get it ready to shoot. Because one of the things you don't want to do is put black powder or any kind of powder down into the chamber when it's oily, right? And then, oh no, you put the ball down there and then it won't fire, and you got to get in there, get the ball out, you know, get your powder somehow behind the ball. Ends up a mess. So here's what I do, okay? And other people may do differently. I'll take the plug out, of course, and I'm going to just run a patch or two down through the barrel, make sure she's pretty dry, at least as dry as I can get it with a patch, okay? And I have done this, but I oil it again after I do it. I make sure it's oiled. Okay, so we got, you know, some crud, a little oil there. I like just turn that over, do it again. Mainly you don't want oil standing in there, of course. I'll do another patch. And it seems to be in really good shape. That's what attracted me to it at the Civil War show that took place in Franklin, Tennessee. Appropriate place for a Civil War gun show, isn't it? If you know anything about the Civil War and the battle that was held there or took place there in 1864, I guess, in the fall. But they have it there every fall, actually about that time of the battle. I think that battle was the last part of November, early December, and that's when they have that Civil War show. It's, I think, the first weekend in December. I usually make that. And anyway, so yeah, I made sure there was oil in there, of course. And I'll take a pipe cleaner and just, you know, go through and make sure, you know, there's nothing obstructing right there. I've got some nipple picks here too. Make sure there's no crud, which there shouldn't be, because I oil the heck out of them after I shoot them. And so what I'm ready to do now, I know there's not a lot of oil or anything in it, is I fire a few caps. And yeah, it costs a little money, but I just go ahead and fire them. Okay, now why am I doing that? Because it burns out anything that's in there pretty well. It's not like a powder charge, but it should take care of that nipple channel going down into the chamber. That's probably enough. I'll fire another one. Cheap insurance, really. That's the thing about muzzle loaders. You know, per shot, I guess it's more expensive than a lot of firearms, perhaps. But you don't shoot them that much, you know. So if it's $3 a shot, you could go out and shoot for a couple hours and load and maybe shoot 20 rounds, you know, and have a world of fun. You know, it's not $3 a shot. Anyway, if you cast your own mini balls, it's not that much at all. Okay, which I don't do, because I don't shoot that many of them. Okay, so now what I normally do is I'll put a charge of powder in there. I mean, I really make darn sure that that muzzle is clean, that barrel is clean. It doesn't have to be a full charge, but I don't know, 25, 30 grain or something in there. And fire that. And don't you think that would pretty well take care of any dampness or any oil? I think it would. All right, so cap on. Now you gotta be careful of your muzzle direction. You don't want to shoot a 500 grain mini ball up into the air, do you? Boom. Hey. Okay, that's the first time I fired it. Even a blank. Even a blank. So speaking of blanks, of course, that's what reenactors fire mostly. Then I need to go back in there. I don't think there's any oil. I'll just, reenactors fire, of course, blanks and almost nothing else. But they better fire nothing else, of course, when they're reenacting. But I rarely fire a blank unless I'm doing that. I'm going to lay those down, pick them up, I don't want to mess up my cowhide here. And so I run some dry patches in. You got to be careful with dry patches if your bore is really, really dry or dirty. Well, you can get down in there and you can't even get and some of you know what I'm talking about. You can't even get the ramrod out. They get so tight. See, one shot is all it takes to, and this is real black powder. Of course, y'all know me if you've been around long. Of course, a lot of you watching here, several thousand new subscribers a day, it seems like. So some of you may be watching your first video and you're still so early at our channel, you think John and I are halfway sane. Yeah, really. You'll find out later that's not true. But yeah, so this may be your first muzzle loading video ever. I don't want to back up and do muzzle loading basics 101 necessarily, but I'll try to talk you through it. And okay, it's mainly about this particular rifle, a little bit of the history, and again, how I get one ready to shoot. Okay, now I'm not getting much crud, am I? And would it make sense to keep putting patches in here right now over and over and over until I get nothing out? Not hardly, because I'm going to fire it. It's going to get cruddy after every shot, right? So, and you can save a patch there if it's not too bad, and reuse them. And everybody does this stuff differently, obviously, because it's not all that complex, but there's just a lot of different ways to look at it and do it, and different standards for if you're a reenactor, if you're not, if you're a competitor, or if you're in battle. For example, I tend to sometimes not half cock it when I put the cap on, reload. It's awkward to get to the nipple, especially on the Springfield, because at half cock it's just barely off there. Although I've gotten kind of to where I do that. I know that is the procedure you're supposed to use according to a lot of people. But anyway, all right. So as far as I'm concerned, it ought to be ready to load and shoot, don't you think? We won't shoot it too many times, but I wanted to show you that. You want it to be really good and dry. Okay, that's simple. If you might be in the middle of your shooting in an afternoon and you decide, I need to stop, it's getting so dirty, and just clean it, and then you get some oil down in there, you kind of need to go through the same thing. Just do what I did, and then run a couple of caps, and take your chances. I overdo it probably because I do not want to have a dry ball, as they call it, have a charge in there that won't fire. All right, so now I've never fired this one. It should be the muzzle, the bore diameter. The 1861 was the mini balls they recommended or tested in, I think, and issued were 575 thousandths, 577 thousandths. They went back and forth, as I understand, and I have both. And I have discovered with these with at least the other one, the 575, which are what I shoot most of the time, they work fine. They're a little smaller than the 577. If the barrel, as it gets dirty, the 577 is tougher to get down and everything. I can't tell a lot of difference in accuracy because I haven't bench rested it with a scope or anything. And so that's kind of where I like to shoot the loads that are easier to get down, to tell you the truth. And I would think in battle that could be important. I think they standardized on the 570, I don't know, 5 early on, then they went to 577, then they went back. I read some on that. Don't remember everything I read about it, but either one, it does okay. They weren't actually, even though these are known for their accuracy, they didn't really take advantage of that, because you know, most of the firing in the Civil War battles, they'd line up and shoot each other across the hill like this, you know, or maybe further, and just volley fire, and through sheer pounds of lead going in that direction. That's what they were doing. As I talk, I got to watch myself. Okay, we're going to put powder in. And I'm using 60 grains. So I understand 60 grains was pretty much the standard load. Okay. I actually made some paper cartridges, but yeah, I think I got the load a little bit low on those. I just haven't used them much. This is the way I do if I come out to shoot anyway. All right, so I've got that in there. Now again, yeah, okay, she's on half cock. Now the ball, 575. And I lube these up. That goes down pretty easily. See, some people would say you won't get the accuracy if it goes down that easily, and they're probably right. I don't know. But as long as it doesn't roll out the barrel, I'm good. And I've got that notch, so I know kind of where that should be. Because as I have explained before, the skirt on these, I'll show you one of these. These are 580. That's the skirt, they call it, in the back. And when it fires, the powder catches in there, it expands that into the rifling, and so that's how it catches the rifling more so than the size of it. Okay, so there can be some variation in the diameter of the bullet. It's still going to expand, you know, and contact the rifling on the way out. Okay, because even though we call these rifle muskets, they are rifles. They're rifling. They have rifling. The rifle musket comes back from the early days of it, because when they started rifling, they still look like a musket and they're long and all that. So, I don't know, you can call it a rifle musket or a rifle. People use those kind of interchangeably. All right, we've got the powder far enough away from us, John, so I won't blow you up and me up, either one. Okay, so this is the maiden shot of this, well, at least for me. You know, we don't know what the last shots fired were. You know, we don't know who fired it last in the 1860s and what that... someone might have been firing this and they got shot. I don't know, two or three people. That's the interesting thing about these real fire. This is not a replica, by the way, if I didn't say that. This is a real one made in 1862, and you can tell it's been used. So I hope whoever carried it fared well. All right, I don't have any idea. It should shoot pretty much on. I've got the 100-yard sight on there. I've got it cocked. I realize that, but I'm pointing down range. Let me put it on half cock. That sight's for 100 yards. The second one is for, I think, 3. Then you got the 500 yards. You even got a 5 on it. No, it has a 3 on it. It has a cheat sheet. I didn't even know it. Yeah. So 500, 300, and then 100, and a pretty simple sight. All right. You can see the proof marks and the date, 1862, on the barrel and the lock. So this is a nice one. But I'm going to shoot it. I guess I'll just, I need to shoot something large. I don't want to miss, and you can't tell where it went unless you shoot something that leaves a mark. So I'm just going to go ahead. It's going to be a loud ring. I'm going to shoot that tombstone. I'm going to hold right in the middle of it and see where it goes. Okay. Okay, I might have pulled down a little bit. I don't know. So it's pretty much right on, maybe. So, okay. I mean, the main thing, this is a little bit risky. I thought, wow, what if it shoots a foot to the left or something? How are we going to, have a video where we can't hit anything on the range? It might be informational and enlightening, but I didn't really expect that to be the case. Okay, so got her half cocked. I don't want to go off half cocked. Now I'm going to, just for my own information, I'm going to run one of these dirty ones down through. I just want to see how bad it is. The rifling feels pretty good, and it looks good. Yeah, it's not too bad. Not too much. It's going to be really dirty, of course. This is real black powder. Yeah, get that later. I'll mess up my hide here. All right, so we didn't put any grease in or anything. Let's put some powder. 60 grains. Standard load. Now I've got the 1863 out here. talk a little bit about that in a second. I want to show the difference. After a couple of years, they changed them just a little bit. And that was partly or largely due to Colt, as I understand, because Springfield couldn't make enough of them. They contracted out to about 20 different subcontractors, and Colt was one of them. And you notice the barrel bands there are a little bit different on that one. They use a screw, and there's no band springs on it. And so they went to that method because that's what Colt was using, and it seemed like the smart thing to do. Well, as I have read, the soldiers had the same experience I have had. Some of those bands would kind of jump the band when you're firing and come loose. And I've had trouble keeping them tight in a lot of cases. And that was my first Springfield. And I thought, you know what, the 61 seems smarter to me because you got that band spring right there that protects that from moving. And so, sure enough, my experience, the real soldiers' experience, because of that, they went back to the method in this one, and I think 64. And I'll show you when I pick it up. So we've got the ball in there. Main thing is we got the powder. Now that's nice and loose. I probably should be shooting, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm finding out. Probably should be shooting the 5.77. Okay, so we'll shoot one. I'll just go ahead and try one on the gong. How's that? Like I said, I'll show you that. See you got a band spring there that holds that. You push that and then slide the band off. That's fairly common at each of the barrel bands there, and I like that better because it doesn't move. So they went back to that in 64, I believe. I think there were Springfield made about 800,000 of these, and then along with all the subcontractors, and some of them were even in, I think, Germany or maybe England, France. I don't know, they made them most of them made here, I believe, but on total, I think there were around 1.5 million, something like that, of these made. This is the predominant weapon rifle of the North, especially after about 63, when they got enough of them made. All right, let's try the gong. I'll just have to listen because I will not be able to see through the smoke. And I'll just kind of hold about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way up on it a little bit. See what happened? All right, nice sound. That one went a little bit low right too. That may be me, but that is a good sound, I tell you. I had a feeling it would not be too far off. I just suspected that. So anyway, that's what I was talking about, the barrel bands. Now it's unloaded, I can move it around a little bit here. You know, it's all pretty much correct. And nice markings. The cartouche is there on the stock, and you can see, of course, the wear and the character marks and all that. But a beautiful rifle, and it's one I'll just always treasure, take care of. And again, these are the kinds of things that make this hobby so interesting. To be able to find these and to be able to fire them, you know, something that was carried by a Union soldier, maybe even a Southern soldier, because they would pick these things up when they got a chance to. They're very, very popular and considered to be some of the very best rifles. The Enfield was great too, the 53 Enfield that so much of the Southern troops used, but these were as well. And interchangeable, pretty much interchangeable parts and everything, and just highly desired. But it's really neat. And you know, as I've said before, the replicas are out there, but depending on your wallet and what you have to trade, if you just are thinking, oh man, I'd give anything for one of these, I don't care what condition it is, you know, all I can afford is a replica, you would be surprised. I remember being surprised as I load here. Years and years ago, when I looked at my very first replicas, and I bought it, my first Enfield, this was 25 years ago, 30, whatever it was. I was in a Civil War shop, and I saw some of these hanging on the wall, and they weren't all that much more. Maybe like 75% more, depending on condition. Sometimes twice as much, but just depending on condition. And I thought, wow. And I asked, so this is real? This was used in the Civil War? Yeah, oh yeah, it was like 1862 or 3 or whatever it was. And so I filed that away in my memory banks, and I've observed that over the years. That, in fact, this one here, the 63, for what, because you're talking $1,000, right, or more, $1,200, I don't know, to buy a good replica of an 1861 or any of these kinds of things. Well, you put a few more $100 with it, and you can find one of these in that condition. So just food for thought. And because they're black powder, I mean, you might want to have it checked out and all that, but generally because it's black powder and lower pressures, different kind of pressure, you don't have to worry about, well, that's an old gun, it might blow up on me, and any good, you have it checked out. But so I'm going to use a 5.77, okay, on this shot. That goes in pretty easily too. I didn't even need the ball starter. So, okay, that's interesting. This looks like a 5.77 bore, which they probably all are, I think. It's just that, you can shoot a 5.75 in it. Yeah, I may order some more of those for this. Now with my Enfields, they like a 5.75. It's tighter. Okay, I'm talking thousandths. Okay, so let's patch her up here. Put my ears on and patch her up. I kind of wish we had started this video like earlier in the day, because I could just shoot this all day long, and we could maybe set YouTube history and post a video that is like 7 hours long. You think I'd get a few comments on that one? Too much talking? Talk less, shoot more? Think I'd see that comment? Well, I might be confident enough to go buffalo hunting. Now, something I do, people don't like, I'll let that, see, I push that down on there with a hammer. I use that. But now I've got it pointed down range. If I do anything that's a little funny, it's pointed down range. I'm going to take a chance and do a little buffalo hunting. All right. Let's see if I can come close to that buffalo on the left, based on where it hit on the gong. Yeah, if I hold on top of its back, I might pop him. All right, I killed my first buffalo. I'm going to the house. Oh man, with a real Civil War rifle. Again, I know I talk about that a lot, but I really do feel sorry for people who do not shoot at all. They just don't. They're missing out on so much fun. This hobby has so many different areas, whether it's skeet shooting or 22 plinking, or shooting these old rifles, replicas of them. You could go on and on, couldn't we? With about a list of 50 different shooting endeavors that are different but yet all fun. So, how was that? Was that too much history? Nice rifle, huh? Rifle musket. I was so glad on the first shots, as you could tell in the video, so pleased that I could pop the gong, and I think I knocked a buffalo over, and I had never fired that gun before, and you never know where they're going to hit with the fixed sights, more or less. You can adjust elevation a little bit, but not much else you can do. And when you pick out a rifle like that, it's beautiful. It's got wear, but it's beautiful because of the functionality, the history, and all that, shootability, and it shoots right on pretty much. That's a real bonus. And so I didn't know what to expect. I had not fired it before. I'd fired the 1863. In fact, did I mention that in the video? That gun was loaded. I mentioned it before. It was loaded when I bought it at the Civil War show in Franklin years ago. And I had to unload that thing. So I don't know when it had been loaded, the last time and not unloaded, but it had a round and powder in it, and that 1863 did. But anyway, the 1861, that's my favorite, I think, Civil War rifle, musket, probably. And it's just a great shooter. And when I look at that, I'm reminded, and I want to get it out and go shoot it, get it all messed up, get it all dirty, right? And again, the fact that thing was used, I mean, why wouldn't it have been? You know, they didn't have a lot of extra firearms around. They were building those things and getting them out there as quick as they could. And so in some capacity, it just had to be used in the 1860s, you know, during the Civil War. But, you know, that big old mini ball, it fires. It's fun to load it, as you can tell, and it's fun to shoot it. It doesn't really kick that badly with 60, 65 grains of black powder. And just a wonderful rifle. I hope that you have some opportunity, or an opportunity at some point, to fire something like that. And as I don't think I talked about in this video, but I had a burglary back in, I don't know, was it 97 or something, before I had cameras and alarms and all that kind of thing. And lost my first Hawken rifle. And I decided to replace it with something more, I don't know, different. That's when I got into the Civil War rifles, the mini balls and 58 caliber stuff. And I'm glad I did. I really am, because they are just so much fun. They're easier to load, really, than a Hawken rifle. Getting a ball tight down into the bore, it's easier loading a mini ball. And they're accurate, and they're fun to shoot. They're also very historical, right? So I hope you enjoyed that. And you know, rifles like that, firearms like that, don't get as much attention. Not as many people have interest in them. But I think true firearms enthusiasts appreciate them, even if they don't ever obtain one, or maybe don't even have enough interest to get into it. I think they can appreciate it, and you know, can appreciate that firearm and why I think it's so special and why I enjoy shooting it. At least I hope so. So hope it wasn't too much history for you. Come back and see me. Life is good.